Immersed into poetic hypnotism, I transformed into poetry. Propelled into poetic pleasure, imagination, creativity, and insanity awoken in me. Observation overpowered me, pushing me into scrutiny of everything.
So how many books are there exactly? Three books.
Well, the first one, the Journey of Reason is strange in the sense that it's a combination of both research articles and poems. It's a very strange combination in a book. And it's all about life, journey, and like behind every journey there is a reason. And the reason is only found, when the event is over, when you reflect, when you go back, in the hindsight you'll be able to see that this event happened for a reason.
Bulare, namaste and a very good afternoon to you all. As you know, we gathered here this afternoon to witness the book launch of one of our very own lecturers with the Department of Communication, Language and Literature, School of Communication, Language and Literature, Mr. Bhawanji Bhindi here at Fiji National University. Mr. Bhawanji Kantilal Bhindi, ladies and gentlemen, was also awarded with Member of the Order of Fiji in the General Division by the President of the Republic of Fiji in 2014 for the contribution in the field of teaching and education.
Thank you. I'd just like to, the three books that will be launched this afternoon by our dean. First is Journey of Reasons, collected works 1980 to 2018. The second book, Horizons from the Edge, Depths of Emotional Flight and Descent. And the third book, Aspirations of a Limitless Mind, Seeking Endless Possibility. The book Journey of Reason is a very strange book because it has a combination of research article, and poems. I don't know if they've seen a combination like that, I don't know. But I tried to experiment and see how people take it.
I would now request our chief guest, Professor Maisina Mombamba, to officially launch the three books.
As Dean of the College of Humanities and Education and one of its two of its founding professors, I have great privilege and honor to officially launch the 3 books by faculty Mr. Bhawanji, Bhindi. And I should highlight the hope that the university, the Fiji National University, will thrive in scholarship, will add value to what's already written, and will produce more Bhindis. Congratulations. Thank you, everyone.
Maybe after a couple of months, one more book is coming out. Another poetry book will come out. And I was very happy to relate to you that Professor James Founder, our PVCR L&T, has agreed to write a foreword to that.
Dangerous Departure, a poem from Horizons from the Edge, Depths of Emotional Flight and Descent. A child, a gift and blessing from God, an image of divine being. He is God's avatar. Showed us love and joy, showed us happiness and tears, showed us endurance and resilience, showed us laughter and enthusiasm, showed us creativity and fantasy, showed us tolerance and acceptance, showed us meaning of life and insight into relationships, showed us real emotions and true essence of feelings, made us resolute and compassionate, compelled us to smile and reflect with hope and believe, shaped our experiences of excitement, changed our thinking and perspective, transformed our lives, rejuvenating us completely. We're at your mercy and smile. We're at your tears and disposal. We're at your sacrifice and suffering. We're at your presence and absence. Every day brings us closer and closer. The bond deepens and deepens and deepens and deepens. You are the special one. You are the chosen one. You are the reason to believe. You are the reason to live. If you depart, dismay and disarray begins. Danger and desperation launches. Delusion and destruction settles. Digression and desertion deepens.
Gentlemen, I am so delighted. I was actually very touched that Master Bhindi's committee actually asked me to read a poem. So before I read his poem, I'm so emotional about this. Before I read his poem, I thought, okay, I did read his poem. Then I said, I have to meet the poet too and talk to him about his poem. Master Bhindi, wow, I didn't realize that. You are free to imagine anything you like. That's the freedom you have with imagination. It goes places. So those are some of the things about the bird and my painting, which I translated from his poem. Another thing I must also mention about the eagle is that it doesn't hang out with the chickens. Imagination. Imagination spreading its wings, flying beyond boundaries, unrestricted by the bounds of reality. Sparkling imagination flourishes for many, releasing impossible imagination. Release the wings of your imagination, fly with the imagination. Everything is in your imagination, as the only limit is your imagination. And it doesn't take great imagination to believe that. I hope this unlocks the doors of your imagination, as I will leave the rest to your imagination and let imagination do the rest. Thank
I think the crowd and I believe that you definitely will make a mark in this glory, this world of glory, definitely. And no doubt, you are a dreamer and you're so creative and innovative. Thank you. Educational Research Association. Professor Onaisi Mbamba, ladies and gentlemen, is passionate about quality and relevance in education. Her research, publication, and consultancy interest includes teacher education, education reform, and international aid in Pacific education, indigenous knowledge, research, and development.
I understand, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very happy to have been invited by Guruji and his family, his sister, Sala, who is here today, recognize his nephew, Selesh, welcome to FNU, recognize their son Vishal, who met us at the door, recognize to the wife, I've said already that it's Mrs. Bhindi, really, that is really the partner to this. She's a good partner in crime, because like Mr. Bhindi, like all the universities we have, this is our one duty, is to not only watch life, but to actually document life. But Bhindi's 3 pieces of work not only document life, but it documents life from Bhindi's artistic thinking through his eyes as author, as long-time educator, as teacher, also as a person that's very engaged with life. But like many of Bhindi's work, the spiritual dimension of life does start after the final journey Bhindi. A journey step by step to a new destination, an inevitable journey through life, journey onward, forward, a journey of eternal hope and rich success, a journey of highs and lows. Who knows where the next journey flows? Journey of countless twists, turns, bends, arduous is the journey. Then Bhindi goes on to say, journey of reality, of fantasy, journey of my dreams, my future, personal journey to explore, to examine, a journey of trials and tribulations, a journey everlasting, expanding, demanding, a journey, golden journey to my destiny in life, a journey of reasons. In the first book, Journey of Reasons, that I hold in front of you, USP Press, 266 pages, 2019. After reading through Journey of Reasons, punctuated only by Mrs. Bhindi's creativity, as are the other books, I'm reminded of so many things that goes on in Bhindi's own vision of life. It comes through very strong. His own ideas of life, the challenges he faces. But what I take out of Bhindi's work is Bhindi is not only commenting, but Bhindi is pushing the frontier of the reader to also remain in hope. Yes, life is such, but there is also goodness to be found in life. So between philosophy, Bhindi is also asking hard questions about life. Journey of Reasons, that first book, has academic articles on education, on value-based education. There was a whole lot of time there. Those of us who've been around for a while, and I only do half of Bhindi's time on earth, and Remes and Professor K, my teachers. There was a whole time where, I think after the 80s, there's a whole search for values in what we are doing with education. So some of Bhindi's writings talks about that. Values, education, leadership. Life, values, freedom, success, sleep, memories, criticism, desire, silences, suffering, happiness, sacrifice, jealousy, human relationships, and so forth. Now let me comment, ladies and gentlemen, I know that there are specific readers that will also read, so I wanted to do 3 things. To introduce it that way and also comment on how I see Bhindi because that's something I think I could do as a literature person. And that is having met Gayatri Spivak. Because I see Bhindi around the place. I've read his works, some of which I've penned forwards to in the past. When I see Bhindi, I think particularly of Gayatri Spivak, because Gayatri, I met her in a park. It was in Rhodes, 2003. And Gayatri is short hair, cropped hair, long sari with a boot. She's Indian, she's a writer, she's feminist, commenting on life. But she wears a boot, but she's lived partly in America. 6 foot of a beautiful Indian woman. When we were in that humanities conference in Greaves, in Rhodes, humanities conference, Spivak, when it came to her time to talk, she said, let's go to the garden. So we walked around looking for a space in the garden where both author and listeners would sit around in a circle, and I have pictures of that. If you've done the course Edu 901, you'd see me with Spivak. She's the woman that is known for the renowned comment, does the subaltern have a voice? Can the subaltern speak? When you see Spivak, you see Bhindi in a way, because Spivak was a woman who listened, like you are listening to me now, to a conversation between 2 white Frenchmen. I think it was Sartre and one other, I forget. And that's why she wrote. She wrote because she saw the interview between these 2 men, and they were talking about Chinese philosophy. So Spivak thought, they are not Chinese, they are men, they are white, they are French, yet they think they can pen comments about the world they live in and also the Chinese world. And Spivak asks the question, we must write, because when we write, we correct the wrong of people that misread us. So Bhindi reminds me partly of that 6 foot of an Indian woman, from India, but American now, with a short cropped hair and boots, claiming very comfortably both parts of her culture. And in Bhindi, I see both the Indian Spivak and the Fijian Bhindi, both the in-between life that Mr. Bhindi lives in, because his articles in the books speak of the worlds that he treadles. And then I'm also reminded of the woman, the Australian Aboriginal woman, Kath Walker. In my dreams, I hear my tribe laughing as they hunt and swim. But dreams are shattered by rushing train, by grinding train, by hissing cars, and then I see my tribe of old walking alone in the Timta. So that is Kath Walker. Bhindi, in the 1930s, the Africans, the other people in the world, the Indians much earlier, they were writing to just tell the world out there, the other people that wrote before us, look, we write too. In Bhindi's writing, the person in the person he is and his culture, his family, his people come through. Because he starts one of his pieces of work here while in India as a student. The impressions that he has of the world he straddled. And in Bhindi, the world, in my view, has been very rich. It shows not only in the writing of the man, but in the way he himself emulates the values he writes about: faith, justice, quiet dignity, keeping good memories, but also projecting a future where humans can respect each other, a life of balance, and a life where leaders will guard what is correct, straight path, I call that. The third work is similar as well, book of poetry, the poetry especially, and I'm reminded of a combination of, for those of us who love poetry, it's a combination of Wordsworth and Frost. This Wordsworth, I'm looking at daffodils, Bhindi. He's a host of lonely daffodils. Daffodils, Wordsworth is known for many things, one of which was daffodils. And so is Robert Frost. When I read Bhindi, as life comes alive in your writing, but also as I also see your life, Bhindi, I'm reminded of the two great poets. One that pushes for nature, and that is Frost. The American poet Frost is nature poet. Pushes for a balance, for sustainable life, for respect for the things that God gave for free, but really the things we cannot do without. Love, green, blue, the ocean, the continent. Bhindi also reminds me of Wordsworth. Wordsworth, like Frost, was a nature poet as well. Today, ladies and gentlemen, as a dean of college that proposes to push the humanities, to push education, to push the creative arts, to push writing, and to push documenting the realities as we see it, I'm very honored to be here, to be opening and recording and turning the leaves of these three very fine works. And I think and hope that this sort of work will be emulated by the rest of us. As a young university, I think Bhindi is well placed among the humanities, and I do hope that young people sitting here today will not say to me, I do not have professor at the time. Bhindi has never been free. He was an educator, a principal, he is a scholar. He has a family, as I've read. He still had time to pen these 3 books in 2 years. And there are books before that. Thank you, Bhindi. In talking about Spivak, in talking about Frost, in talking about Wordsworth, in talking about that strong woman poet, Kath Walker, who laments about the past and looks at the future and decries values that have gone out the window. I also see in you Konai Helu Clayman. I also see in you authors like Subramani, who see the purpose of life as having human relationships that I write of quite frequently. In my last work in 2017 with Professor Upolu, we called it relationality. That it's important at the end of the day to realize that there is a purpose in life, that life on earth is short, and I'm reading from Horizons from the Edge, that human relationships matter, that humans matter, that human nature and life matter, that at the end of it all, we have something bigger to answer to. Thank you for inviting me today. Congratulations again. With those words, yes, ladies and gentlemen, I launched the 3 volumes.
Thank you, Madam Dean, for your very stimulating words of wisdom.
And immediately, spontaneously, she said, no, it will be launched here at FNU, and Chair will do that. And had it not been for her initiative, passion, this book launch would have remained a pipe dream. Ladies and gentlemen, she is the key to the launch this afternoon that you're witnessing. Thank you. Enough of today. And I'm indeed grateful for her incessant support and generosity. And let me also say, Professor Unai Simbamba has been my tower of strength. The poems in Horizon from the Edge explore a variety of themes which our Dean has already covered. Now, my last book, Aspirations of a Limitless Mind, Seeking Endless Possibilities. This is a book based on my experiment, because this book doesn't have a forward. It doesn't have any review. It only has a preface, ladies and gentlemen. Right. I just wanted to experiment, within myself, whether sometimes we say, all right, this person has written the foreword, so the book must be very good, so and so. But I try to leave that out and see if I can survive on my own strength or not. So when you read the book, you probably will be able to see that. I wish to thank the persons who have spent time and effort to write the foreword, the insightful reviews, which are included in the books. And my gratitude and appreciation goes to Professor Govinda Lingam, who was supposed to be here, the former head of School of Education, Faculty of Arts, Law and Education, University of the South Pacific. He wrote an incisive foreword for Journey of Reasons. And of course, our Dean also wrote a review, a very perspicacious review of that book. I know she came to Karnataka, she came to Nasinu for a while, and I grabbed the opportunity. In spite of her heavy schedule, she managed to write a beautiful, inspiring review for the book. And I would also like to acknowledge the review done by Dr. Dr Emit, Associate Dean, Research, College of Humanities and Education, and Mr. Shailesh Lal, now Dr. Shailesh Lal, who was here as a lecturer and head of communication studies, also wrote, and Mercy Izela, who was a lecturer at FNU. Now she is the Communication Skills, Ethics and Professionalism, Department of Psychiatry, School of Medicine, University of Zambia. She wrote the review from Zambia, University of Zambia, and I'm so grateful for that. The other book, Horizon from the Edge, I'm grateful to Dr. Rohitash, a senior lecturer, School of Mathematics and Statistics in the Faculty of Science, University of New South Wales, Sydney, for writing the foreword. I posted him the book 3 months ago, and I lost hope that I would ever get it out. Right? But then, just last week on Sunday, I received a message from him that we had received the book, and I felt so good, because and today we have the launch of that. And the second person that I'd like to thank is Dr. Surendra Prasad, who was a former Dean, College of Engineering and Technology, Fiji National University, wrote an analytical and critical review of Horizons. My profound thanks also goes to Dr. Vishal Bhindi for crafting an impressive cover design for all the 3 books and doing the layout and design of all the books. And this is the making and evolution of a poet. Immersed into poetic hypnotism, I transformed into poetry. Propelled into poetic pleasure, imagination, creativity, and insanity awoken in me. Observation overpowered me, pushing me into scrutiny of everything. Explosion of ideas bombarding me continuously. Thoughts, analysis, contemplation, reflection, and rethinking, all infiltrating through my mind, absurdly drowning me into the poetic journey of poetic lunacy. The mystic of poetry working miraculously, crystallizing my thoughts, feelings, emotions into words, sensations in me thrilling me with lasting impressions, passion raging in poetic tantrums, compelling me, a craving infatuated with poetry, uplifting my spirits. Intensity of emotion and flurry of feelings converted to lyrical verses and flowery symbolic language. Poetry obsessed and possessed me fully and truly, and now I can't live with or without poetry. Poetry has changed my life forever. My life became poetry, poetry became my life. It is my conviction that every person should write something. If you write anything, it will become something. If you don't write anything, it will not become anything. It becomes nothing. So if you put a pen, you scribble anything, it will become something. So I'd encourage each one of you present here to write something, whatever you want to feel. It helps in critical thinking, creating joy and happiness, easing pain. I remember when I was studying in university, I was very homesick, and I took a piece of paper and I started writing. I filled in about 5 pages and I didn't know what I was writing. It was like a catharsis, giving out feelings. And I felt at the end of my writing, I felt good, because all the things that were inside came out in the form of words. Spreading important and life-changing messages, it can also help in solving some problems and difficulties in life. It may change the life of a person. I am delighted to see so many of my friends. I would have loved to see some more. I appreciate and acknowledge all those here, and thank you for coming along to celebrate this momentous occasion. Your presence means so much to me, my family, and Fiji National University. I represent the university, and I feel so good that I'm part of the university. I've been here for the last 10 years, so I'm the pioneer, right? And I actually joined in 2008 after leaving MGM High School as a principal. At that time it was FIT, Fiji Institute of Technology. So I wish to thank the Lord for His continuous guidance and grace in my writing. I hope that you will enjoy reading my books as much as I enjoyed writing them. Please enjoy the rest of the afternoon. A lot of things to eat there. You can please help yourself. And before I close, I'd just like to mention one thing. We have two of our colleagues reading the poem. We have Susie, who will read the poem. And she asked me, she messaged me to say, please come in, I'd like to discuss the poem with you. So I went just a few days ago. And I was so thrilled, so I just couldn't imagine that Susie had translated my poem into painting. And here you can see the video. She has translated the poem into painting, a work of art. That was another dimension. And I was really thrilled. I didn't think about that. So she looked at it from her perspective. Thank you very much, Susie. And Nima is another one who's going to read a poem called Dangerous Departure, I think. And you will know, after reading CVs, you will know what it is, or it's very personal. And so thank you, Vinaravatalevu, and Dhanyavad. Thank you so much. That are in that book, and when at the end of the program, the book will be on sale, the 3 books, you can buy them. And poetry has always been a part of human life. Poetry is an imaginative awareness of experiences expressed through meaning, sound, rhythmic language, choices to foster emotional expression. It provides a great way to reinvent, reflect, re-examine, and understand our own feelings. In this collection of poems, I have attempted to convey my thoughts and sentiments on various subjects and issues of life. The book, Horizon from the Edge, Depths of Emotional Flight and Descent, mirrors the infinitude of knowledge, feelings, and experiences that a person can imbibe in life. Human beings go through emotions of highs and lows, happiness and sadness, ecstasy and desolation, and what matters is the fluctuation between the various depths of emotion. And we as human beings, we experience high and low. And I'm sure during COVID people were low, from high became low, and then now going high.